All right, we're getting started. Yet another race in
Alright.
the 80% tournament for Metroid Prime. Right off the bat, FusionVaria having a little bit of trouble with targets. So these targets are obviously meant to train new players how to do the basic controls of the game, like aiming. Speedrunners already know how to do that. Right away, doing a scan dash. By scanning off a scan point and jumping left or right, you can move pretty fast.
Yeah, it abuses the combat strafe mechanic that is intended in the game. By just letting go of L, you can gain a huge burst of speed. It doesn't slow you down.
So now that the run's getting going, I gotta ask you, Venmisa, who do you think's gonna win this one?
I'm not too sure. I know FusionVaria's been working on this a lot recently. I'm not sure what Cody's been up to in the past few months.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play at all until now. Hazel's been putting in a lot of work, like you said, and at this point, I'd say this is anyone's race.
Yeah.
Hazel does a lot more run killers than Cody, I think, at this point, especially Exo Skip. It's going to be interesting.
Well, we'll see if that gives her the advantage that she needs. Alright, both of them here attempting a little reposition trick. By landing on this pipe and jumping in a specific spot, and then snapping the control stick back, Samus will just get repositioned.
Many refer to that strat as the Cody ledge. I'm not sure why that actually came during my hiatus from the game.
Because Cody was the one who discovered it.
Was he?
Yes. Just a little story on that. He discovered it when the video was posted. It was really slow, but I managed to get a faster strat and found out it saved time over the double bomb jump we used to do.
That's good. I actually like that strat. I was always terrible at the bomb jump.
Yeah. All right, so coming up, Cody is going to be doing a trick called rapid fire missiles. All you need to do is look up at Parasite Queen and shoot her mouth with, fast missiles.
Yeah, it could be done one of two ways: by holding up the C stick to constantly be switching to power beam, or cycling between missiles and A for firing the power beam.
Yeah.
Something I don't think we've touched on yet is some of the more basic movement in this game that we see the runners doing as they go through this hallway. L jumping. The game has the ability to lock onto an imaginary point in front of Samus just by holding L, which gives her the same walking mechanics that's similar to locking onto enemies, and then you can use that to L jump.
Yeah, so what both runners are doing is they are standing in a specific spot to go out of bounds, and both runners are attempting to get out of the frigate by being out of bounds instead of taking the normal inbounds route. Whoa, that jump that Hazel did was a little risky. It's a 3-frame window jump, and if you fail it, you fall all the way down to the bottom.
The clip they did to get out of bounds is incredibly precise. It's down to about 3 decimals in the position data, so incredibly precise, and was found by complete accident by a runner called Justin DM while he was looking for spots to do a completely unrelated trick.
Let's see where Hazel's at right now. Solid escape by Cody, as long as he gets back in.
That's not good. Oh,
nope,
he made
he's
it.
in. All right, cool.
It's a little too high, but he somehow managed to get back in.
Oh, that was sketchy.
Yeah,
But I-15's a good escape time. Really good.
Hazel not far behind.
Yep.
This wall crawl in particular
That
is pretty
transition's
difficult.
awful.
Yeah, this wall crawl is difficult. The primary reason being is it's no space jump. This is the only no space jump wall crawl in this category. The other part being is Frigate was the testing ground for Retro when they were developing this game, so it has a lot of strange collision and door transitions that you don't see anywhere else in the game. And all the specific movement the runners are doing here is to work around that problem.
Yeah, a lot of this is extremely precise. It is not a recommended thing for newer runners. Cody on the left doing a space jump first, which basically you just do a dash over to the side, and you don't need boost ball to get space jump. In fact, this will help bust open the early game in a variety of ways.
Yeah, this is probably the biggest sequence break in the game, and because the ship is just high enough to be able to dash to the ledge, it really opens up the early game completely. And strangely, despite the simplicity of the trick, it took quite a while for runners to find it when this game came out. Several months, if not a year, I think. Looks like Hazel had a little hiccup there and fell down the pit. Doing the dash that she was doing, it's actually dashing over 2 gaps with a bunny hop, which is by holding down both triggers and jumping within a few frames after landing, you can jump without losing a lot of your speed. And that's what she was doing, but she missed the bunny hop and fell down one of the pits. So Cody's in main plaza now, just getting some safety items, as well as missile expansion. You don't actually need the launcher to get missiles in this game. You just need any expansion. This allows him to go straight to Morph Ball.
Yeah, the only difference between a missile expansion and missile launcher is that the missile launcher has the fancy cutscene. There's no other difference. You still get usable missiles.
The same goes for other expansion types, items like power bombs, same behavior, which we'll be seeing later in this run. Deliberately triggering the enemy cutscene like that saves time as it automatically unmorphs you and lines you up for a dash to dash straight out of the room like you saw there. And now that Cody has Morph Ball, he's going to be making a beeline straight to Morph Ball bombs. Any major upgrade that's acquired in this category is because it's required. The only optional item that runners elect to get is Thermal Visor. Everything else is required.
And technically, only 21% of the game's items are like truly required, but that it ends up being a lot harder and it's more of a challenge category than anything else.
Yeah, I guess required isn't quite the right word, but practically required in the terms of an 80% speedrun. It'd be impractical to do any percent without space jump, for example.
Yeah, or some of these E-tanks that the runners are getting. Yeah, so the pausing that Hazel does on the other screen, or the pausing that Hazel does, forces this door to open a little early because normally it won't open until every adjacent room has been loaded. I am still unsure after 4 years on why that works.
I'm sorry, I was reading something. Why? What works?
Pausing to force, I think it's Arboretum access to open faster
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I know the behavior that it resolves in. I don't know why it works. For some reason, the game's engine, even the game's engine, when a room is loading multiple connecting rooms, it won't open any of the doors until they're all loaded. But pausing it breaks that logic and allows the doors to open as soon as the room is finished loading. I'm not sure why that is, though.
It's only with certain doors, though. It's not with all of them. So it's really strange.
So this is Incinerator Drone, colloquially known in the community as Zoid, the developer that made it. The amount of time it takes for its weak spot to pop up is semi-random. It's within a range, so it'll always pop up eventually, but obviously getting the optimal, shortest time possible is always good.
Oh, that wasn't too bad. Except for the fact that Cody can't hit it. Nice, Cody.
Cody having
a little trouble.
Exhibiting one of the hardest challenges in this game, which is hitting stationary targets.
Yeah, we kind of tend to have a problem with that, don't we?
Yeah, we miss doors, we miss the targets at the start of the game, and we miss the Zoid weak spot.
Yeah, typical.
One of the biggest hurdles to learning to run this game is that its controls are not that great. They're almost like tank controls. You can either look up or down or move. You can't do both at once without some jumping, without involving some jumping. And because of this, the controls are pretty unintuitive to learn for a speedrun, and it's definitely a hurdle for newer players.
Yeah. Yeah, so we use the game audio to kind of tell if it was a good or a bad Incinerator Drone fight. Well, actually, a Zoid. We're just gonna say Zoid fight. Cody's was actually like pretty bad. If the music loops, then it's not a good fight. And that's no fault of the runners. It is the semi-randomness of this fight. It has up to 35 seconds of variance.
Unless you miss the weak spot.
Unless you miss the weak spot. Cody providing some much-needed humor.
Cody opting not to do the energy core cutscene. I'm sure Jack is disappointed.
Yeah, poor Jack. He must be so upset.
Getting kids meal missile as well. This missile isn't necessary for an optimal 90% run, but it adds a little bit of buffer later in the game.
Yeah, DF is disappointed.
And now he's going to be taking a safety save as FusionVaria gets her bombs as well. This safety save is pretty important in a tournament race because coming up is a boss that does a lot of damage, and after that is a one-shot trick that, although easy for experienced runners, everyone messes it up sometimes, so it's good to get that save. So otherwise you're
a couple days ago.
Yeah. No matter how good a runner gets at this game, every once in a while they'll mess up this trick, which I guess we'll explain in more detail later.
Yeah, Cody just opting to bomb jump over the gate as opposed to using the runic symbols. Also, he's
and trying to roll into a wall.
Yeah, I think he was trying to roll into the hole, but you know. Oh, Hazel opting not to safety save. Doing some slightly different strats in Arboretum, but still works out. She gets to the top, same as Cody.
So this is cutscene. The way to kill it is you gotta hit those bomb slots, which causes it damage. The first one we do intentionally, simply because it's easy and fast. But the next one's coming up, we're gonna be doing something different. So, as you can see, the the bomb slots that hurt this boss are active at all times. They don't need to have the weeds retracted in order to access them, and because the runners have space jump, it's very trivial to just dash straight to the bomb slots and bomb it. The game's boss isn't coded correctly to handle this, so it stays active and tries to swing it at an invisible Samus during the cutscene.
And there goes Flagra. There really isn't too much to say on this fight. It's pretty straightforward. So it's just a lot of cutscenes.
I believe an optimal RTA fight, or RTA is an optimal console attempt of this fight is only in-game time about 11 seconds or so, and everything else is cutscenes.
Yeah, so oh, sorry.
After defeating the boss, the reward is another 30-second cutscene.
Yeah, so we submit times in this community based off the in-game timer, which only ticks up when you have direct control of Samus. So this fight in-game time is extremely quick, but it's also like 2.5 minutes worth of cutscenes. It's usually a good time to relax. I usually like to take a sip of water.
So now that Cody has Varia, and soon FusionVaria will also have Varia, next up is the trick we were discussing earlier. It's called Early Wild. The artifact of Wild is where Flagra just was. In order to activate that layer that the artifact exists on, we need to go down halfway down this upcoming vertical room called Sun Tower. And to do that, they morph into this corner and do an infinite bomb jump by wedging themselves into the corner, which slows down their fall rate enough to allow the bombs to refresh.
Cody laid that last bomb a little late.
Yeah, the rate at which Samus falls when wedged into this corner can vary randomly, so it's up to the runner to be careful and pay close attention to what Samus is doing.
Uh-oh.
That's scary. And Cody felt it. And he has to reset. He's got the safety save, so it's good. He can just go back, but now FusionVaria has pulled into a very solid lead of at least 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, let's not say anything yet. She still has to do it herself.
Yeah. But this is what I was saying. Cody's a pretty experienced runner, but even the best of us mess up this trick sometimes. For Hazel, this is all or nothing. She doesn't have a save. But she gets it without issue.
She gets it good.
That is a very good boon for FusionVaria. She's got a pretty healthy lead now. And now that she went down that room and back up again, the ghosts are here, which she can now fight to get the artifact of Wild.
And what she's going to be doing here is trying to stun the ghosts. You can actually get him into a permanent stun lock if you fire your shots correctly.
Yeah, call it ghost juggling. During the period when they try to dash away, they're vulnerable, and you can interrupt their dash with a charged shot, as you can see FusionVaria doing here. And if you can manage to chain those, you can kill them without them ever going away.
Definitely not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky. It's kind of unintuitive when you should start firing, and because the window's tight, they start dashing away just barely after you have enough charge to actually shoot. better switch this line out.
You can't. She doesn't have a
Can't?
viable
Oh,
audio.
man.
Nope. Because it looks like she's doing this from a webcam. That's having some not exposure, focus.
I forgot she's using a webcam still.
Yeah, she needs a capture card.
The best stream of 2020.
Yes, absolutely. All
Now
right,
that FusionVaria has Wild, she can just head down to Magmore to finish the rest of the game.
yeah, so if you unmorph early, going down the sun tower, you get a lot of downward speed, and then it slows down just before you hit the bottom, so you don't get stunned. Trick recently found by GD Vertigo.
So besides Wild, the reason we got Varia Sue is obviously because we want to avoid hot damage here. And coming up, FusionVaria is going to get the Artifact of Nature. There was a common misconception for Wild that this artifact requires super missiles, but there's no indication of that. All it takes is 2 missiles to blow up the column.
Yeah. I think it was originally I think it might have supposed to have been an intended thing back in development, but it never ended up being the case, because I remember hearing something about they I guess apparently the damage type or whatever was programmed incorrectly. I think that's what Zoid said in a Skype call a few years back. But yeah, it doesn't require super missiles. There's no indication in the game that it requires super missiles. So we can just get it now and not have to worry about it ever.
Looks like FusionVaria is going for the Chad strat in Monitor Station without blowing up the turret. And she gets it.
She got it. That dash is tricky.
Dash is tricky, and not blowing up the turret makes it even harder.
Yeah.
It can shoot you and knock you off the ledge.
I've had that happen too many times.
So Cody's coming up on round 2 of early Wild here. Wishing the best of luck.
You got this, Cody. I almost want to send Hazel my GB USB too.
Oh, it went out of focus. Oh no.
See?
It does that sometimes. Usually it fixes itself. So now that Hazel's in Findrana Shorelines, she has a couple goals here. She needs to collect a few items. One of them is Boost Ball, the other is the Artifact of Sun, and the last is Wave Beam. Two of those will be collected at the same time.
But how?
Whenever I try to explain it, someone tries to explain it better.
Oh, I've never seen that before. The dash that Hazel did on the...
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, she got damage boosted by the inverted snow cone. Those little snow cone dudes, they have enormous knockback, more than any other enemy I've seen in the game.
It's so strange.
And Hazel accidentally touched one and it just ejected her off the ledge. So normally you have to do a quick series of jumps through all these platforms, but with space jump and dashing, she could dash straight to Boost Ball and collect it without doing it. So with boost ball collected, that's one of 3 items we need right here in Finjana. And coming up after that's going to be a trick called Wave Sun. By abusing a glitch called Infinite Speed that involves neither infinity or speed, you can abuse the game's mechanics when it comes to collision to touch almost any loaded item. And 2 of those loaded items is Wave Beam and the Artifact of Sun. But in order to do that, you need to put the room into a specific state, which is only possible by going out of bounds, which is what she's doing right now. Ooh. Cody getting the Artifact of Early Wild on the second try. Now he's going to be making his way over to Finjana as well. So, what Hazel's doing right now out of bounds was what the community refers to as wall crawling. The game has a very specific set of rules, and they're consistent. None of this is random. So part of it is the outside of walls are sticky, and Samus will stick to them as long as you're moving into them. And she used that to ascend the room faster. The other is that by moving the map onto another room and then going back to the room that the map is not part of, the collision properties change. And one of those allows you to clip back in bounds, either by boosting or bomb jumping and unmorphing. And it also allows Samus to get stuck in walls like this. And by doing that, we can have the morph ball be in a single place, but still be considered in the air somewhat, and it allows us to rotate the ball with an increasing exponential rate. And eventually that rate will reach the point where the game can no longer handle it, and it changes the rotation to not a number. Having this rotation be not a number and then boosting causes the position and collision object to also use not a number, which completely breaks the collision code that allows Samus to touch almost anything that's loaded in the game, including enemies, items, and other walls.
Cutscene triggers too.
Yeah, so...
Which is why you see 2 Samuses.
Yeah. Like there.
Oh! Oh! Cody!
Cody is looking a little dicey right now.
I'm scared. Oh, please kill the turret. Okay.
Lava, thankfully, doesn't do a whole lot of damage as long as you get out of it quickly, but those turrets do, so I hope he kills it. Yeah, he's killing it. Alright, he's good. And it looks like he's going to be going for the safe strat through this room. Oh, no, never mind. He's doing the slowest possible strat, and then he rams into the buffer. Oh, no! The turret sniped him! I didn't know if he saved after early wild.
Oh no, he did it!
He was there. He was at the door.
Oh no! Oh no!
Keep going, Cody. This is
Come
still
on,
anyone's
Cody.
race.
This is anyone's
Never
race. Go.
forfeit. Remember, race, I think it was 3. Someone forfeited, and then the other runner soft-locked at Wave Sun and went back to Flagra, I think it was. So don't give up, man.
Don't
This
give
is still
up.
anyone's
You got this,
race.
Cody.
FusionVaria still has 3 wall crawls ahead of her.
3?
Oh, wait, does she do... No, she doesn't do newborn. Okay, it's just 2.
She does not do newborn.
Yeah, just 2 wall crawls. Still,
More
anything
people,
can happen.
more people do exo skip than early newborn these days.
I guess I gotta learn exo skip next.
Early newborn's just that stupid.
Yeah.
Probably my least favorite trick. Oh, wow. Nice boost from... Almost got up. Nice. From Hazel.
Oh, Fiery Shore is doing what it does best, and slowing runners down.
Sounds about right.
There's a series of jumps and dashes you can do to get through that room pretty quickly, but they're pretty difficult. This game is pretty hard to move fast in, because Retro, they put a lot of work into putting a lot of detail into these rooms. You can see there's a lot of extrusions and bumps everywhere and lots of detail, but most of that is also collidable. And when you're trying to dash through the room or jump through the room and you keep hitting all these little extra details, it kills all of Samus's speed. So a big part of learning this game and getting good at it is knowing where to go and what inputs you need to avoid all these extra details in the room.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's a lot for sure.
So now that FusionVaria has Wave and Boost and Sun, she's going to be making her way back to Chozo to collect a few more required items before going back to Magmore. That's going to be Life Giver, Ice Beam, and X-Ray. Oh, and Power Bombs.
And Power Bombs, which, if you want to know how we can get Power Bombs first in Chozo, stick around. We'll explain this in a few minutes. Nice. Yeah, Hazel was able to get up that room without using Spider Ball.
Because you can stand on everything in this game.
Yes.
Like a double-edged sword, all those bumps and details and extrusions that slow us down can also help us get to places we're not supposed to be at. And that was what she was doing there, just standing on a tiny ledge to jump up to the door.
Yep, and it gets even better because there's a technique called slope jumping that she was able to use to skip Gravity Suit and get the Artifact of Life Giver. And Cody is not having a good time right now.
I think those two resets have gotten to Cody. He seems a little bit frazzled.
Yeah, I can imagine being very, very tilted. Yeah, so...
The tournament is individuals.
Alright, so what Hazel's doing is the same infinite speed trick that she showed off back in Phendrana. Except this time, the game's lagging here, so it's going to take even longer. And what she's doing is, on the other side of this room is a wall of Bendesium, which can only be destroyed by a power bomb. Behind that wall is a power bomb expansion. So she's going to use infinite speed to touch that power bomb expansion and acquire it for herself.
That power bomb expansion has been pretty frustrating for all the people that have been trying to research and route this game out for a faster route. It's tantalizing in that we can get to it from out of bounds, but we have no way of leaving when we did, because the wall on both sides is solid. We cannot infinite boost through it, which we'll be seeing later in this run with another wall. So far, infinite speed is the only option.
I believe that you can't blow the wall up with the power bomb you just acquired either.
Yeah. The damage trigger to blow the wall up is only on the other side of the wall.
It will not be, and you can't touch it.
Yeah, it's one of those frustratingly almost kind of items. But unfortunately, it's only acquirable with infinite speed. And infinite speed requires boost, which is why we went to the Phendrana before doing this and came back to Chozo after.
Yep. Hazel was able to cancel infinite speed by using a fixed camera, because if you unmorph in the state of infinite, oh,
Oh, that's a bad habit.
oh no.
No, thankfully, I think she knows the backup for this, which is to turn HUD lag off, which gives you access to the map again.
Yeah, I always have HUD lag off when I do runs, because of if something like this happens.
So this will slow down her progress pretty significantly, but it's not a soft lock. So the game is very laggy right now. So this is light show, by the way. This is what happens when you unmorph with infinite speed. The camera, like the morph ball, is now in not a number. So it doesn't know how to render what it's looking at because it's trying to look at everything. So the backup here is Hazel will navigate with the map in an extremely laggy game. You can see how slow this is going. This is not her moving slowly. This is just the game running slowly. And she gets her way to doors. Her arm cannon is also in Nan, so she can't use it to shoot anything, so she has to morph and bomb doors to get them to open. And then unmorph and using the map to go through them again. Not a soft lock, but extremely slow to do.
Yeah, it's basically run over if this happens in a personal best attempt.
Yep, she's making her way now. She's making her way to a save station. Save station and other cutscenes that reposition Samus will fix this problem she's having now.
Yeah, so that's what oh! There was a fixed camera spot that she was able to use to
Oh, there you go.
get rid of it. Nice.
Fixed cameras will also fix it, although only partially. The camera is still like stuck. It gives you weird angles. It doesn't follow the ball like it should. And there you go. Nice and safe. Light show canceled.
Alright, and Hazel is going to be doing a trick called Ice Beam before Flagra. It's going out of bounds here and getting the Ice Beam. And normally this was meant to be before fighting Flagra. But...
It looks like she slipped off the ledge.
yeah.
So the OG route did this trick before fighting Flagra, hence the name, as Venmi said. And because the Metroid Prime community is really great at naming stuff, we just decided to call Ice Beam before Flagra after Flagra.
Yeah.
This
Although,
trick
honestly,
is no longer... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think we just did that as a meme.
Yeah, I like silly names, though. I'm definitely one of those people. So this trick isn't strictly necessary anymore. The route can be done inbounds without it, but it's definitely faster, especially in RTA. It skips doing the energy core puzzle to open this locked door that you see right in front of Hazel now. But the other thing is, because of the way it enters and exits Hall of the Elders, it doesn't trigger the ghost fight, which allows it to be skipped later when we come back to collect the world. Cody doing some more juggling.
Wow, that was a clean furnace by Hazel. Oh, she fell here, so she's got to be a little careful. Get herself back up. Because if she falls in the next room, Hall of the Elders, that's going to be a pretty nasty fall, so. What is she doing?
Oof. Yep, she fell in hope.
Yeah,
so this is something that could happen. The room she's in... she's in the Hall of the Elders. The room she's in is loaded but not visible. So what she's doing now is... every room is inside of a box. And when outside of this box, Samus floats. And there's a 3-frame window when exiting this box that Samus can still jump. So by doing this back and forth movement that you see Hazel doing, she can continuously chain those jumps to gain height and get back to where she needs to be. During out of bounds, in order to traverse the world, you need to transition through the doors, as you can see her doing, which usually involves getting on top or near them and then moving across them. And what Hazel did to get back in bounds is called a door warp. By shooting the door, it forces the room to load, and it loaded around her. Looks like Cody is finally past Flogger again. I hope he takes the save this time. No, he doesn't. Alright, Cody's going ham.
So, as we said at the beginning, it could be anyone's race.
Yeah, FusionVaria has definitely had a few sweaty moments so far.
Yeah. But she's managed to get herself out of them.
So after collecting Ice Beam, next goal is X-Ray. X-Ray is needed to defeat the boss Omega Pirate, which has Phazon Suit, which is needed to beat the game. Just a chain of requirements here. That's the only X-Ray, and the artifact of Chozo is the only reason to come here after getting Ice Beam. Stationary targets.
Yep, Ice Beam.
Cody's still electing to do the slowest method of this room. I'm sure East is very disappointed.
Did he jump up on the high rocks?
Yeah, he did the high rock dash.
Oh no. I didn't even know.
He's funny though, he made it past monitor station. That's the good part.
Yeah,
so he's getting safety tank now.
Hazel getting X-ray visor, even though it's kind of hard to tell because of her camera's going out of focus.
Because Hazel has power bombs, she can immediately just power bomb these walls to get to Chozo.
Yeah, and that enemy there, I forget its name, has a 100% chance of dropping a power bomb. This was put in just in case anybody goes there with only one power bomb. Because otherwise there is no way to, casually there's no way to get out.
Yeah, the intended way to exit this room is to do a series of platforming and fight a bunch of ghosts, but by standing on top of a rock and jumping to the ledge, you can skip all of that.
Yeah.
The way to reach the ledge from that rock, it's hard to tell with the video quality, but she did a trick called an R jump. Every time Samus space jumps in this game, she loses a small amount of speed. But by locking both L and R triggers, you can remove this speed reduction. So space jumping with both triggers locked allows you to reach further than otherwise intended.
Yeah, if you're
many of the sequence breaks in this game are just crossing gaps that Retro thought were not possible to cross.
Yeah, and if you're not holding L, like if you're like halfway into the R jump and you're actually not holding L, you can actually gain speed because you're going sideways.
Oh yeah, we didn't. Did we touch on that? No, I don't think we did.
I don't think so. Yeah, there's no sideways speed cap in this game.
Yeah, Retro did a lot to try to prevent this weird movement-based sequence breaks that we've been seeing. Part of it is they implemented a forward, backwards, and upwards speed cap so that you can't jump too high or jump too far. But supposedly, I'm guessing because of a workaround they needed to do for the combat dashing, they didn't add the same caps for sideways speed. So by jumping and turning or dashing off a lock, you can really go way further than the developers ever intended.
When you play this game long enough, it just becomes natural.
Yeah, it just adds another unintuitive step to speedrunning this game, where you have to turn and not see where you're going while jumping to move optimally. Oh wow. Hazel electing to get a safety missile I haven't seen in a very long time in any percent.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't
The
seen
missile
that.
count becomes pretty important in the late game. There's a number of numerous bosses, that it's optimal to kill them only with missiles without relying on other beams, which are slower. But that requires a high amount of missiles, so getting more of them is always safer.
Nice, Cody got in. It's always a little terrifying to see people morph in midair, because if they fall, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's easily a 30-second time loss to fall in that room. Thankfully, Out of Bounds, while difficult, is not as punishing as some other games could be, because every room is surrounded by this floating ether material. You can't fall forever, which you would in many other games, so even falling is usually recoverable.
Yeah. Thankfully, since Out of Bounds in general is pretty difficult. You have that buffer room. Hazel doing a bunny hop across, and she got it. Normally you need Spider Ball to get across that gap, but there's actually a few ways to get across it.
Yeah, going back to by abusing the lack of sideways speed cap and a number of other mechanics, you can cross almost any gap Retro has put in this game to try to stop players.
Hazel jumping up, doing what's called a slope jump. If you holding L and jump up against a slope, then some of that horizontal speed gets translated to vertical speed, and you get more height out of your jumps. Yeah. Fun fact about version differences: if you have the player's choice version of this game, well, first off, scan dashing is not possible. But second off, in the room that Hazel's in right now, the door to get Plasma Beam would be completely locked without Grapple Beam. Hazel using Slope Jump to get up to that platform, and there she goes.
Well, after the hiccups with early Wild, Flagra, and dying in Monitor Station, it looks like Cody's back in his game. His gameplay's looking pretty tight right now.
Yeah, I think it looks like he's back in it. That's good.
Just a reminder to anyone watching, this game has a lot of run killers, especially in Hazel's case. She's doing a pretty hard trick that's at the very end of the game. This is still anyone's race. Late game itself is very dangerous just from a not dying perspective. Enemies do a lot of damage, and there's a lot of awkward movement with the punishment being falling at a pit of Phazon, which also does damage. It's a pretty dicey part of the run. So Hazel's back in Fendrana now. Got a few items to clean up here. We refer to this as Far Fendrana, mostly because it's after the Pirate Lab sequence. What she's going to be getting here is Artifact of Spirit, Elder, and Thermal Visor. Thermal Visor is useful for the final boss and as night vision in some of the darker areas and mines. Again, using a bunch of ledges and bumps, we can ascend this room without doing the intended strat, which is using Grapple Beam.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there's the Artifact of Out of Focus Spirit.
So the artifacts, what they're used for is to access the final bosses of the game. So all 12 of these are needed. Holy cow, the lack of focus.
Hazel just showing how much of an OG runner she is with the extreme quality to match.
To be fair, she's been around the community for a long time.
So that strat Hazel just did to unmorph and still go towards the door is a recent find by Hazel herself. We call it morph ball desyncing. It's a very small optimization, but Samus will always unmorph unless there's an external influence like a door. She will always unmorph in the last direction you had input in the directional stick. So by like holding left and then boosting down the room, you can unmorph in a direction that's not what the direction Samus is going. So Hazel has a objective here besides collecting the artifact of Elder, which is get a power bomb drop. She absolutely needs one to enter mines. Without one, she cannot progress. So that's what you're going to be seeing with her shooting all these boxes and checking drops, is getting that power bomb drop. Drops in this game are random. They don't take into account the player's inventory other than if it's full or not. So if Hazel's really unlucky, she could get no power bomb drops and have to reload rooms to farm them.
Yeah, every chance that she gives herself is a 2 in 7 chance to get one. Oh, she has one.
Oh, nice.
She must have got him from the early boxes.
Yeah. Or Edward.
Or Edward. Edward is the pirate that breaks the glass. She's actually going through these rooms backwards. Like, you're not intended to be going into that room from that side.
Yeah, it's a common theme in this game that it's usually faster to do something backwards.
Yeah.
Cody getting ready to do the second resident sleeper of the run. So now that she has Elder and a power bomb drop, the last goal here in Finjana is to just collect thermal before going to mines. So gonna make our way back down the research core. Because the artifacts are needed to require the game, much of the routing that goes into this category is finding a way to collect artifacts on the way while also collecting necessary items. But Elder is all by its lonesome in Control Tower, which requires a fairly out-of-the-way out and back to get it.
And Hazel grabbing falling while scanning one of the computer terminals. This allows this room to be sped up quite a bit.
Cody doing a different IS cancel strat than Hazel. This one was found by Whiskers. It's a little bit tricky. Yeah, it looks like he didn't get it first try.
This
It's
is why
difficult to.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I use this strat myself, and this is why, like, whenever I start a new file, my HUD I make sure my my HUD lag is off, so I can actually use the map to position myself correctly.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do when you can't see anything. You mostly got to use the map to like get a good idea of where you are, and then you have to jump up and back down and morph to get the cancel. It looks like he didn't get the cancel quite right, so he's got the semi-fixed camera that doesn't follow the ball.
Gotta love this camera. Cody said yes to the save there. Good.
Oof. Cody getting a T jump there. The game just ate his jump. That can happen for a number of reasons. Samus could ledge clip onto a small piece of collision and then immediately fall off it. And there's other reasons as well. The T doesn't stand for anything, it's just something we started calling it.
The T? I think I missed something. What are you referring to as the T?
I'll DM it you.
Okay. Oh.
Cody getting a pretty solid IBBF AF there. Definitely look like he's getting back in the zone.
Using a slope jump to jump, or using a slope jump like on the spines of the toad.
So FusionVaria is now in mines. This is the final area of the game. The entire route for any percent is designed so that we only go to this area once. We've visited all the other areas at least twice, but this one we want to get done once because it's moving around it is very slow. There's a lot of barriers. You know, it's meant to be an area in the game that utilizes all your items, and because we don't have all those, it's pretty slow in some cases. So on the bucket list of items to get here is camera focus, main power bombs, Phazon suit, artifact of newborn, and artifact of warrior. We're in the main power bomb maze now. There's no barrier reason for getting main power bombs. The only reason we have to get it in any percent is because it's scripted to activate the artifact of warrior. Without it, we can't get that artifact and can't complete the game.
Hazel got a 25 square maze. There are 300 possible mazes in this game, and they range between 15 to 55 squares, odd numbers only, and 53 is not one of them. Looks like Cody's just getting X-ray.
Hazel farming drops for missiles, which are going to be needed to beat the Omega Pirate boss fight. So this is where the run starts getting difficult in any percent. Hazel has quite a lot of safety items, so it won't be so bad. But in an optimal PB attempt, this could be a pretty dicey part of the run for numerous reasons. One of which is fear of HP reaching 0. And the other is, for a lot of runners, they do a difficult trick, which I don't think Hazel will opt to do. It's called Early Newborn. Besides that, there's a lot of difficult movement. Many of these areas are designed to require grapple beam and spider ball, and we have to use a bunch of precise jumps, I almost said it, slope jumps, and other techniques to get around those requirements. All the while we have high damage enemies like plasma pirates and annoying enemies like Metroids trying to stop you. A very technical part of the run, for sure.
Oh, I love that strat that Hazel just did in Fungal Hall B.
I missed it. Too busy talking to Twitch chat.
She tries to do an R jump, or she tries to do bunny hops across the mushrooms.
Oh, I've been seeing videos of that. It looks pretty cool.
It's pretty sick strat. It's not as fast as the IU, but
So here's another dicey room. Definitely one that can end a run if gone poorly. There's a lot of plasma pirates here, as you can see, and they do a lot of damage.
Ooh, nice recovery. Nice recovery.
Nice improv there. The goal is to dash across that phase on Pip before the pirates really start noticing you. That didn't go well for Hazel.
Safety save. No, she's not. Okay.
She's not, but she has a lot of health. She's got 4 tanks, one of which was used in this room, but I think she'll be alright.
Yeah, I think she'll be fine. Wow, I've never seen that pirate be so mean. Alright, so she is removing the plates off of Omega Pirate. What will happen here is Omega Pirate will basically go away. She's trying to skip the troopers from coming down. Let's see if this power bomb she lays is good enough. I don't think so. I don't think she... Yeah, I see wave pirates. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, wave pirates are pretty rough, so she's basically going to have to ignore them because it's not possible to destroy them before Omega Pirate spawns. And so basically, Omega Pirate spawns in the pool furthest away from you and does not spawn in the same pool twice. So she will be using that to manipulate which pool that Omega Pirate spawns in and kill him with a few plasma shots and possibly a power bomb.
Which she has 3 of. She's got plenty. So. Nice.
Nice. Yeah, so power bomb deals, I think it's either 28 or 36 damage per frame, or 50. I forget which number. Actually, I think it's 50.
It's a lot per frame.
It's a lot. This game runs at 60 frames per second. So as long as X-ray visor is active, Omega Pirate will take damage from the power bomb.
So now that she's got Phase, she's got to go back and get Newborn. This is an artifact that's entombed in a room of Phazon, which 90% does not have the help to survive normally. Meanwhile, Cody is making his way up to Fendrana, and after that he'll be on his way to Mines as well. And it looks like Cody's getting some DF levels of workstation here. These flying pirates, they really love missiles, and the missiles really love Samus, so they knock her around a lot. So Hazel's getting newborn here with all the Phazon I was talking about. This Phazon does more damage than normal, presumably because Retro Studios figured out that with enough health you can survive it, so they made it do incredibly more than it's normally done. There's a trick to get this artifact early from out of bounds, but it requires a pretty precise clip riding on a glider. Not a lot of runners go for it. It's pretty difficult and takes a lot of time to learn.
I know like probably like 7 or 8 who go for it. Actually, maybe less than that.
Yeah, props to the runners that do it, including you, Venmi.
Yeah.
It's very hard, and even after the clip to get it, the wall crawl itself is dangerous, takes a lot of practice. It's just a hard trick to do.
Yeah, Hazel's doing backup. And these Metroids are giving her a hard time.
Yeah. Yep, going back to mine's is difficult because of annoying enemies, and Metroids is definitely one of them. They love to get in your way and bonk you around and stop your jumps. So Hazel now has 5 tanks and Phazon suit, which means she's basically invincible. The Phazon suit provides damage reduction on top of, well, not on top of, it provides a flat damage reduction, which makes most of these beam troopers do, and the mega turrets do substantially less damage than they otherwise would have.
Cody looks like he's pretty low on health, so he's gonna have to be careful.
Yeah, I didn't catch what caused so much health. Did he walk into the seedlings or whatever they're called?
I have no idea. I was in the middle of sending a message.
Yeah, that's something that can happen if you don't morph into them. If you walk into them, they do like quadruple the damage they normally do. Oh yeah, it could also be missiles. Cody taking it very safe here in Research Core. Those turrets and enemies can easily kill him when he only has 30 health. So labs is definitely a risky part of the run if you're low on health. There's a lot of enemies that can do a lot of damage to you very quickly. So in addition to a power bomb drop, which Cody needs to to progress, he's also going to be hoping for quite a lot of health to survive these next few rooms.
Yeah, Hazel is attempting a trick to skip needing Spider Ball here. So what she's going to do is do what's called a bomb space jump, and you have the ability to jump within 21 frames of leaving the ground. And she's using that to get extra height to land on a tiny ledge.
Very tiny. Going back to you can stand on everything in this game. This ledge was found because a runner called T3 fell down the room normally and then landed on this tiny ledge, and the rest is history. So the ledge is extremely small. You only have like a few pixels, for lack of a better term, to of room to move on.
Yeah, there are actually 2 spots you can go to, and I actually prefer the second one. That one, the one that Hazel just jumped onto. Yeah, definitely runner preference.
This is another one of those sequence of rooms where the items we're missing make themselves very apparent. Hazel did it pretty well, but those series of jumps can be pretty tricky, and they're really precise. One of them is standing on an edge in collision, not even a platform. Yeah.
It's terrible. It is terrible. Looks like Hazel lost like a full E-tank on that one. Yeah, so this is the casing that Icefire mentioned earlier. You cannot blow that up without the main power bomb expansion. If you just have power bombs and you didn't get the main power bomb expansion, it just simply won't work.
Yeah, this artifact doesn't exist without main power bombs. So far, we have found no way to break retro scripting system. It has remained incredibly resilient against all our efforts. So until we can do that, we need to follow this chain of required items.
Yeah, if we could find a way to break the scripting requirement, oh my! What is going on here?
Cody getting bum rushed by the pirates and turrets.
Oh my goodness, what is going on?
But he makes it out okay.
Oh. Yeah, with probably his heart rate shot up. Nearly gave me a heart attack. Holy cow.
Yeah, he almost didn't make it out of there, but he's good now. He's got his energy tanks. He's on his way to mines.
Amazing. Hazel jumping up or processing. The jump she just did there is not easy, and
yeah, it's another example of standing on an edge rather than an actual platform. And because of Prime's movement mechanics, it just makes it difficult to stay on it. If you're going too fast, you can slide off it without anything you can do about it.
yeah, which is why Hazel held R once she got to the top, or once she got right near it, because it'll prevent her from moving forward.
So something we didn't mention before, but the runners enter mines from the back. He didn't get a...
Oh no!
No, Cody!
Cody!
So going back to how one of the goals in labs is to collect a power bomb drop, it seems Cody was not paying attention to that, and he does not have one. You need one to blow up those rocks to get to mines.
That is devastating. Hazel
Cody
on
is...
her way to get Artifacted World.
Unfortunately, Cody is serving up enough spaghetti to feed all of us tonight, and I feel very bad for him.
So
This has gone so poorly for him. There is a backup strat where a very precise angle can shoot through the wall and kill a zoomer on the other side of the rocks, which drops a power bomb. I'm not sure if he's aware of it though. And
I didn't even know about that strat.
Yeah, the angle is pretty precise, so you either need to know the setup or spend quite a bit of time winging it until you get it.
And I believe these Triclops have a 10% chance of dropping a power bomb?
I need to check.
I need to check. I think it's pretty low. I know that much. Like, it's worse than the 2 and 7 you have in labs.
Yeah, this is probably the worst place to farm, but he probably doesn't have much of an option at this point.
Hazel going for ghost skip right now. What she has to do is jump on this. Oh, she...
That was a strange L jump.
That was really strange L jump.
Alright, so one of the goals of doing the wall crawl earlier to get to Ice Beam was not triggering this ghost fight and then jumping over the trigger to get to this bomb slot. But unfortunately, she didn't make it. It's not that big of a time loss, especially because she has X-ray, but it does lose time. And it looks like this was the final nail in the coffin for Cody. His run has been so bad so far. He's had the worst luck.
Oh, it's been bad.
But
I feel so sorry for him.
props to him for keeping it going so far.
Seriously.
He kept going until the game basically forbid him from moving any further.
Yeah. So it's really unfortunate what happened to Cody, but this game is incredibly volatile. So.
Oh, he's still in it. He's still going.
Is he still in it? Wow.
He's gonna continue with.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. He's got the powerbomb. We're good.
Go, Cody!
So after a small pit stop to get a powerbomb and take a rest, he's now on his way to mines. So yeah, there's the zoomer he just killed for another powerbomb drop. Only the zoomers on the far side of the rocks drop powerbombs.
And only one of them. The farther one.
The reason this is because you're not supposed to enter mines from that direction. You're only supposed to leave mines from there. So Retro only coded the zoomer on that side to drop the powerbomb.
Yep. Hazel heading back to Talon to get to the ship and face final bosses. I think Cody just wanted to get that power bomb. Because he's just standing there. Oh, now he's going.
So one of the final bosses is this webcam focus, and the other is Ridley.
I was going to say, Cody's having about as hard as the time as the camera has focusing.
There's 3 final bosses in this game: Ridley, Metroid Prime Exoskeleton, and Metroid Prime Instance. If all I'm guessing that FusionVaria will be skipping Exo, as she's been practicing and doing it a lot. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Ridley is another boss where missile count is important because we'll be using rapid missiles to kill it. Rapid missiles is the highest form of DPS in this game when the enemy is vulnerable to them. So we will always be using rapid missiles whenever that's the case.
Yeah, so did she manage to get ship dash?
I was too busy blabbering.
I think she did.
The pirate is confused.
Oh,
so it looks like Cody managed to get the elite pirate soft locked. Now it's just Terminator walking towards the computer and cannot see Samus.
Oh, this is so funny.
Anyway, here's Ridley. Ridley has 2 phases, ground and flying. Starts off flying. During the flying phase, it is vulnerable to boost ball, and boost ball, like power bombs, does a lot of damage per frame.
It's 50,000.
Yeah, a lot times 12. So once Ridley gets down onto this platform, you'll see FusionVaria boost into it and delete almost all of its health bar in one go. There we go.
Yep. There goes most of Ridley's health.
Unfortunately, ground phase is not vulnerable to boost ball, which would be great because then this fight would just end instantly. So instead, we have to stun lock Ridley by chaining its stuns together and rapid missiling its weak spot. Oh, free time loss. So there's the glitch with Ridley's ground phase where it sometimes won't take damage. Redfo was never able to fix it. And looks like Cody has finally thrown in the towel. And released the elite pirate from its prison.
So Hazel just finishing up Ridley, and she will be heading into the impact crater to fight the final bosses of the game, which are Metroid Prime, or which is Metroid Prime. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's gonna go for Exo Skip. Looks like.
Yeah, it's that moment in the movie when the character says the movie title, but except it's a boss. Oh, she's not going for the save.
Whoa.
Could this be it? Could she do Exo Skip and soft lock? Does Cody still have a chance in this race?
Only time will find out, and unfortunately the camera will not tell us that well.
Stand by for the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. So this is if she looks like she's power bombing the Metroid, so I think she's gonna be doing it. And this is all you, Venmi. You know all about this trick.
All right, I'll explain. So the Metroid at the bottom, or the original Metroids, were destroyed because unfortunately you cannot use them. You have to use a respawn version. And so what she's doing here is she is trying to trap the Metroid in a different room. This was before only used in low percent because these Metroids respawn. And so what she's doing here is putting the Metroid in a specific spot, and then is going to go through the door. And so now the Metroid's floating. And what she's going to do is she's going to position herself just right, so that way the Metroid will push her out of bounds. And this allows us to skip the Metroid Prime Exo fight. The reason this is possible is because there's a tiny hole in front of the door. Like that. There we go. Not bad. She's trying to get to a standable spot so she can jump into Aether and then Aether jump her way up to the door. Which again, Aether jumping is basically going inside or being outside of the game's bounding box and then going back in it. And there's a 3-frame window to jump, so it's a 1/20th of a second with no visual cue. So Aether jumping is not an easy thing to learn. So most players don't look for a cue or don't look for anything. They go off feel. Oh.
Almost got on that door. So yeah, the reason FusionVaria is doing this is to skip the first phase of the final boss, Metroid Prime Exoskeleton, which on a good day is an annoying fight, and on a bad day is a run killer.
Yeah. Ooh, nice Aether jump there. Any Aether jump you see that's not in the corner is very, very risky, very, very difficult, and yeah. She has to avoid a trigger in this room, because if she hits it, she'll get put back in bounds, which will start the fight, basically making all the time that she used earlier completely useless. On the other side, there's actually another trigger, but this one is even worse. If she hits this trigger, not only will she get put back in bounds, but she'll be up against an invincible Exo that never started. So that would mean that the fight would you wouldn't be able to do anything, and it's game over.
It's a soft lock,
But,
yeah.
but I've never seen this strat. I like this.
Yeah, they were posting this in the strats
Whoa.
video. Yeah. They posted this strat in the strats video, and this is what tempted me to start learning this trick, because this actually looks like a pretty solid way to do this sequence of wall crawling.
Yeah. Because I've been doing an R jump down, which is very, like, risky. Nice. She got it.
Awesome. So this is Essence. Hazel's jumping here. What this does is Essence tries to get eye level with Samus, but by jumping up, as soon as it starts the attacks, it skips that, which saves a little bit of time. This boss is pretty annoying to fight. Retro isn't very good at coding final bosses. The way this boss works is it's completely invulnerable until it lays these phazon pools and you stand in it and shoot it with your gun. The annoying part is that there is a very large area in this room where Essence will not lay these pools. So part of this fight is keeping track of where you are and where Essence is and trying to manipulate it away from that area. And that area is around the corpse of the exoskeleton.
Essence is not being nice right now.
Yeah, while keeping track of positions is also trying to keep track of when it's doing attacks and canceling them. Looks like Hazel's just going to let it skip a pool.
Yeah.
And anyway, as I was saying, you can cancel Essence's attacks by stunning it with the phazon beam you're shooting it with. So while keeping track of positions and everything else, you're also doing that. So it's a pretty technical fight to learn. Camera focus. So it's hard to tell, but what she's doing right now is, I think it's called pool canceling. I don't know the name for it, but I know the behavior. By moving in and out of the pool, you can shoot it without draining the pool, so you get essentially infinite ammo until the timer starts draining it automatically. And there we go. Still got a 3 pool. And that's what she was
Nice.
doing before getting the final burst, and that's Metroid Prime.
All right, that's it. GG to Hazel.
Look at that camera.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna send her a message. I mean, I have a capture card that like literally has been doing nothing for like 2 years. So I'm going to ask if she wants it. And the winner of this match, the camera.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to tell, but maybe we'll get to see what Hazel's in-game time was.
Eventually we'll get there.
Looks like the camera's coming back into focus. You want to try to get the runners in here to talk about their runs?
Yeah, let's see what's going on. 106, nice. Let's get Cody in here. I'll be right back. Yeah. Hey everyone, Cody's here.
Cody's here.
Looks like you had a pretty rough run, Cody. How do you feel?
Not great.
I would too.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed, or I was pretty like disappointed when I
Hey,
saw
props
it
for you
happen.
though for keeping it
Yeah.
going as long as you did.
I didn't want to disappoint the viewers, I guess.
I always disappoint the viewers. It's okay.
So
I
something else. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying that I was playing all right, but then I got tilted and then I wasn't playing good and the game just said no over and over again. Doesn't feel very good.
Playing good until you weren't playing good.
Yeah.
Can't
Happens though.
Let's see, where is Hazel?
So I was asking Venmi at the start of the run because I don't actually know. Have you been playing Prime at all recently, or did you come into this tournament pretty rusty?
I have been actually. I've been playing Prime probably at least like once a week ever since I got my 59. But not
Okay.
much other than that.
So it's just kind of like for fun, or were you doing runs or practice?
Not practice. Sometimes I would do it for fun. Sometimes I would do runs. I was practicing yesterday though.
All right, looks like Hazel doesn't want to join chat. So anything you want to say before we cut the stream?
Better luck next time.
Better looking losers. You're not out of this yet. So this tournament has a winners and losers bracket. It's a double elimination. So was a winners bracket race. So anyone that loses here still has a chance to get back.
Yep. Oh, there is another race coming up. Let me check. I believe it is at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so about 1 hour and 8 minutes from now. Let me see. It is going to be with Digglerath versus Edson on SpeedGaming 5 in about 1 hour's time.
That's gonna be. Edson's another pretty good runner of this game. He's gonna be doing a good show for sure.
Yeah, Edson's a really good runner, so we'll be seeing that one.
Don't miss that one for sure. And if anyone out there is interested in learning how to run this game, we have a community that's willing to help. We have a Discord server that you can find the link in our speedrun.com page, which is just speedrun.com/mp. And it's a pretty tough game, but it's very rewarding to do well. And many of us find it pretty addictive. We've been doing this for years, and we just can't seem to get away from it.
Yeah, I've gone to other games at some point, but I end up coming back. Metroid Prime always asks to take me back, and I always tell him yes.
Well, if that's all we got, I guess we can close this out.
Follow the runners. So follow both FusionVaria and Cody. The YouTube link I put in the chat is a link to the any % beginner tutorial route. It may be October 2015, but it is the most up-to-date route. Nothing has really changed much in the past 5 years. So, yeah, I think that's it for us.
Watch FusionVaria's 37 tasks.
It's pretty cool. You will love it.
I was going up against really heavy odds because she has a 35.
37.
Segmented 35.
If you want to see how this game has no skill ceiling, watch those tasks. It'll blow your mind. I think that's all we got.
All right.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you in the next race.
All right.